friendship that'll never ever end.
Run!
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Reaction Beanie Yo 503. In that neighborhood. My brothers and sisters, the man that we're about to go to today has just released a brand new series over on his channel. And I'm pretty sure that it is excellente. And that man that I'm talking about is, I like to call him the Lazy Man, but he is better known as Lazy Masquerade. Back to the Lazy Man, y'all, and check the title of the video out. The Internet's Darkest and Strangest Websites, Volume 1. Now, ain't no telling what the hell type of websites the Lazy Man that found, y'all. Like, dude, like I said, I know this one just gonna be exa-freaking-lente, and I'm so happy to come back to the Lazy Man, y'all, because I feel like it's been a while. I feel like it's about that time to get a brand new video from him, and I'm just ready to get into it. But before we get into it, my brothers and sisters, y'all know what y'all got to do. Get whatever you may need. Get what you need, please. We back to the Lazy Masquerade. Y'all got what y'all need. Y'all ready to go? Then let's go. The Lazy.
Ever faced a choice so clear that it felt like the universe was giving you a nudge? Like when you're looking for something to watch and a Lazy Masquerade video pops up on your homepage. In business, we're always on the hunt for the—
Hey, Lazy Man, when his commercial started off, but what he just said at the beginning, yes. I be looking for something to watch, then Lazy Man pop up. I be like, oh, me and the Bean team gotta check it out. We been waiting on it. And we are finally here, my brothers and sisters. Let's get past this, man. Excuse the freaking, internet tripping. What the hell?
postage and a digital scale.
I don't know what that was, y'all. I hope we don't have to go through that no more. Let's go. Craigslist.
We all know that Craigslist has hosted its fair share of concerning ads over the years, and has developed a reputation for being full of scammers, creeps, and in some cases, monsters. And though that's perhaps an exaggeration, I wanted to highlight one incident in particular that helped to give the site such a bad name. In 2011, this Craigslist ad was placed to the site's general labour section. Caretaker position for farm, southern Ohio. Simply watch over a 688-acre patch of hilly farmland and feed a few cows. You get $300 a week and a nice 2-bedroom trailer. Someone older and single preferred, but will consider all. Relocation a must. You must have a clean record and be trustworthy. This is a permanent position. The farm is used mainly as a hunting preserve, is overrun with game, has a stocked 3-acre pond, but some beef cattle will be kept. Nearest neighbour is a mile away. The place is secluded and beautiful. It'll be a real getaway for the right person. Job of a lifetime. If you are ready to relocate, please contact ASAP. Position will not stay open. Respondents.
No, hell no, man. Just for me, it's like the more you read into that letter, like the further the freaking letter go on, the more I'm like, oh, hell no. It's real secluded in the closest house or whatever, a mile away. So you want me to come out to the country to your stranger ass, stranger danger, stranger danger. You want me to come out here and there ain't nobody else out here but me and you? And I don't even know you, don't know how you look, know nothing, don't know nothing about you. I would have looked at that ad and turned away real quick. But we all know that it's gonna be somebody that try to take that opportunity. Let's see if it's these guys right here. I don't know, but let's go.
To the listing were interviewed by an old Hell's Angel looking man called Richard Beasley and his 16-year-old nephew, Brogan Rafferty, a giant youth who stood at 6'5" and who barely said a word. 48-year-old Scott Davis was among the candidates considered for the position. He had replied to the ad on October 9th and had been invited to meet with the farmers over a meal. The job sounded like a great opportunity. Scott had been looking to relocate from South Carolina to be closer to his mother and sister in Ohio, and so, when he saw the ad, he packed his possessions into a trailer, hitched it to his pickup, and set off for greener pastures. After getting to know Rich and Brogan over a long breakfast in Shoney's, Marietta, Scott hopped into the back of their white Buick LeSabre and rode 15 minutes with them to a secluded, wooded area near Akron, expecting to be shown the farm. Scott exited the vehicle and followed the two men down the forest track towards Gladwell, confused why they hadn't parked closer to their destination. And that confusion intensified when he noticed a pre-dug hole about the length and width of a human male close to the track. The hairs on the back of Scott's neck stood up as he stared down into that hole, and that's when he heard a distinct, metallic click. Scott turned to see Rich aiming a gun at him. That click had been the sound of a .22 misfiring. I looked into his eyes, recalled Scott, and all I saw was coal. They were black eyes. They were just black, like a shark feeding them water. In that moment, Scott managed to deflect the weapon away from his face as Rich pulled the trigger a second time. After that first pop went off, Scott made a break for it, though as he rushed into the tree line, he realized that he had actually been shot in the elbow.
Oh.
Blasts continued to ring out behind him as he fled, though the trees provided some cover. I ran until I couldn't run anymore, out of breath, Scott would later say. I didn't think I was going to make it. But though Scott had managed to put some distance between himself and his would-be killers, the two maniacs had chosen their location wisely. There was no cell coverage out in the sticks, and so, unable to summon help, Scott trekked through the dense woodland and hoped for the best. After hiding in the underbrush for 7 hours, he finally emerged under cover of darkness, walked for miles to find help, and then called the authorities. It wasn't long before news of Scott's encounter spread across Ohio. 5 days.
And that's why I want to just go and point out real quick, y'all, that I'm glad we got that CCT footage of them in that restaurant wherever they ate at to first meet Scott. I'm glad we got that evidence so they can't even deny that they was not with Scott. And of course, we got other evidence of the Craigslist ad or whatever. But I'm saying we got their picture, we got video of these motherfuckers, man. Why was they doing this? It was just some random. Let's just try to get somebody on the internet and kill them. Like what? They try to convince somebody to come so we can kill them in a secluded area? Like, what type of stuff BS people be on, my brothers and sisters? That's so crazy, man. And this one of those cases where it just seemed like it wasn't his time to go. Because the gun malfunctioned, then he was missing as Scott was running. Dude was missing. He was still shooting at him as he ran in the woods. This is freaking crazy, man. But that's why I said, man, we already knew somebody was going to take that offer. But I'm glad Scott did survive.
Days later, a woman named Deborah Bruce contacted the authorities and reported that her twin brother, David Pauly, had responded to a similar ad on Craigslist shortly after Scott. She hadn't heard from him since.
Okay, time out, man. I thought that was the end of the story, lazy man. I thought that was it. I thought we was ending on a happy end, and it was a happy note that we were ending on. Oh, man, these dudes did it to more than just him.
With that lead, investigators took cadaver dogs out to the area where Scott had been attacked. There, buried in 2 feet of earth, they found David Pauly, and beside him, the bodies of Ralph Geiger and Timothy Kern. The FBI traced the Craigslist ad back to an IP address belonging to one Joe Bass in Akron. Joe denied posting the Craigslist ad, but mentioned that he had a tenant who leased his basement space, one who had access to his computer. He only knew this tenant as Dutch, though further investigation would reveal him to be 52-year-old Richard Beasley, a self-proclaimed chaplain with a laundry list of past criminal offences. Cell tower data led to Rich's arrest on November 16th, and Brogan's shortly thereafter. During a search of Rich's room, investigators discovered artifacts belonging to the 3 slain men found out in the woods. In Brogan's home, they found what one detective described as a killing kit full of weapons. They also found a poem on his computer, one which read, "We took him out to the woods on a humid summer's night. The loud crack echoed, and I didn't hear the thud."
Wow.
That poem had been written the same day that Ralph Geiger was last seen alive. After taking Ralph's life, Rich assumed his identity and began claiming his social security benefits. He used that cash to pay for his rent. Their other victims had been less lucrative. In fact, after taking Timothy Kern's life, the duo only walked away with the $5 they found in his pocket. But in the minds of most, money wasn't Rich and Brogan's main driving force. That would be the thrill of the hunt. It would later come to light that Rich and Brogan weren't uncle and nephew after all. Brogan came from a broken family, and Rich had taken the youngster under his wing. Over time, Rich cultivated a partnership with Brogan that escalated into a joint criminal enterprise. Together, they formed a sinister plan to lure in the vulnerable, end their lives, and steal their possessions. After receiving inquiries about their bogus Craigslist ad, the duo would meet with possible candidates, as they called them, to ensure they were the type of mark they were looking for. Unmarried, down on their luck, and aging. Their ad had been specifically designed to attract such men, those looking to escape and start afresh, those who nobody would go looking for. And given the rate of unemployment in Ohio at the time, they received hundreds of responses. One candidate was Ron Sanson, who met with Rich and Brogan and described them as normal farmers who didn't seem suspicious in the slightest. He didn't get the job, obviously, presumably because of his experience working in the Navy. Before his trial, Brogan turned down a plea deal that would have allowed for parole during his middle age, choosing not to betray his so-called counselor, Rich.
Oh, hell no, man. Hell no. This just show you how brainwashed that Brogan, whatever this young guy is name, that Rich had got him, y'all. He should face the consequences for his actions as far as this go. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is I think this Richard guy, the rich guy, the old man, I feel like he is the one behind this whole craziness, and he manipulated this guy into being like his soldier, his right-hand man in these horrible crimes that was being committed. You know what I'm saying? Because he came from a broken home, you know what I'm saying? Probably was down on his luck. And the main thing is that he was young. He was still a teenager. I think the lazy man said like 16 years old or something. But whatever. But all I'm trying to say is, man, it just show you how brainwashed that Rich really had Brogan. And I know I'm probably saying their names wrong, but y'all know who I'm talking about. That just show you how brainwashed that he had him, to the point where he could have took a deal to get out of prison early, and no, he's so dedicated. This was like a 2-man cult going on, and freaking what the old man name is freaking Jim Jones. He the one who made the young guy drink the Kool-Aid. If you know, you know. Let's go.
In court, Rich tried claiming that Ralph, Timothy, Scott, and David had all attacked him as he tried to show them the farm, and they had all done so coincidentally in the same location. If anything, he and Brogan were the real Craigslist victims, and had fallen foul of 4 opportunistic madmen who had contacted them on the site. Needless to say, that strategy didn't land with the jury. Brogan eventually changed his tune and said that Rich had forced him to go along with his scheme. He said he knew where my mum lived, where my sister lived. I wouldn't have done it if I had any other choice. In much the same fashion, Rich tried to pin the blame on Brogan, saying that he was the real triggerman. In the end, both men were found guilty in 2013. Brogan was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, and Rich was sentenced to death, a sentence which has yet to be carried out. Thousands of deals are made every day on Craigslist, most of them innocent enough. That being said, as reported by the Washington Post, 101 murders have been linked to the website since its inception, and that report came out in 2016, so who knows what that number's up to now. Though in the grand scheme of things they're rare, Stories of would-be killers looking for trusting victims on the platform are far from unheard of. And in the words of GQ author Devin Friedman, trust is how Craigslist works in the first place. The shocking thing isn't that the occasional bad actor on Craigslist shows up and takes advantage of that trust. The shocking thing about Craigslist is that it almost never happens.
Man, that was a crazy one to start it off, my brothers and sisters. Jesus effing Christ, man. Cause I thought that when what his name was, Scott got away, thank the Lord, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking that's it. After Scott got away, he told the police and they came and arrested him. Come to find out, they already had been doing this ish. And one thing I want to say, two things. First thing, rest in peace to all three of those guys. But another thing I want to say, just to clarify how I feel about it. Yes, in my situation, how I am right now, how I'm living, there is no way in the hell that I would fall for an ad like that. You know what I'm saying? But that's me in my situation. But like the lazy man explained it out, like these some dudes that was like really not had nothing going on. They was single. They was just trying to find a new way to make money and try to like start a new better life or whatever. So I can understand people like that stuck in those situations looking at this ad as an opportunity to better themselves. You know what I'm saying? I get it. And that's why I was saying like somebody gonna freaking look at this ad and be like, sound like a good opportunity. I just wish they would have never did that. But you never know who really is behind some freaking words on the damn internet. You never know who that person really what really is. And come to find out, both of these dudes was horrible people. Even the young one, even though he got coerced or, you know what I'm saying, manipulated, brainwashed into doing this, or even blackmail, forced or whatever, because he claimed that Rich was talking about killing his mama and his family and stuff, and that's why he ended up doing it. Whatever. At the end of the day, man, you was in on it, and I'm talking about the young one now, Brigan, whatever his name is. You was in on it with Rich. Y'all carried this shit out. So you gotta go to prison too. That's just how it is. But that was a crazy one, y'all. I love that one. We still got what? 3 more to go? No, 2 more to go. 2 more to go. So let's go.
On the surface, 5N Chronicles, or the Fifth Nail Exposed Chronicles, might seem like just any other blog, but its mundane appearance belies its dark subject matter. This online diary of sorts was actually written and maintained by an inmate on federal death row, and chronicles his life behind bars. Each entry is like a snapshot into the mind of a condemned man, one whose thoughts are relatively eloquent and well presented. And though some paragraphs do touch on hostile inmates and cruel guards, the most striking thing about 5N Chronicles is how remarkably ordinary most of its entries are, with the majority focusing on things like the writer's changing weight, his thinning hair, and the movies he's been watching in his cell. And while reading through those portions, it's very easy to empathise with the prisoner and see him as a normal guy dealing with a tough situation. At least, until he reminds you why he's facing all Sparky, or its chemical equivalent, in the first place. In case you didn't know, I'm in a Riverside County jail for charges of kidnapping a 10-year-old boy out of his backyard where he was playing with several other children. I drove him to a secluded desert ravine, then murdered him, and left his bound body to be found decomposed and ravaged by scavengers several weeks later. And if that wasn't bad enough, I got away with it, and there were no suspects in the case until I told them I did it after I was arrested in Idaho for a completely different and much worse case. The man behind 5N Chronicles was Joseph E. Duncan III, a notorious individual who, between 1978 and 2005, preyed upon and essayed dozens of children.
And see, that's what I was saying earlier with the first case, y'all. You never know who behind these words on the goddamn internet. This dude is freaking Satan putting out a damn blog. You know what I'm saying? This one of Satan kids putting out a blog on the internet. And you'll think he all good because he just in his cell, you know, watching movies. I think I seen Spider-Man up there in the Emoji Movie. All great movies, by the way. I have seen those too. But boy, if you really knew what this guy did have done in his life, this is Satan little child.
Duncan's life of crime began early, when, at the age of 15, he held a younger boy at gunpoint and forced him to do unspeakable things. And with time, Duncan's sinister behaviour only escalated. He was finally brought to justice in 2005 when the authorities discovered the tied-up bodies of Brenda Groney, her boyfriend Mark Mackenzie, and Brenda's son Slade Groney inside their family home in Lake Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Brenda's other children, Dylan and Shasta, were nowhere to be found. 7 weeks later, Shasta, one of the missing children, was sighted at a Denny's restaurant with Duncan. A waitress, the manager, and 2 patrons recognized her from news reports and secretly called the police. They swiftly arrived and took Duncan into custody. He'd allowed
This is some sick shit, my brothers and sisters. I know I just stopped it right there. But I just gotta say, this is some sick shit. This guy is sick as fuck. I'm telling you, man. Satan is patting him on his head. You know what I'm saying? In the spiritual realm or whatever. You know how we all feel like God is with us? Satan is with him. That's who with him. Patting him on his goddamn head as he do this crazy shit.
Shasta to live, because, according to Duncan himself, she had taught him how to love. 2 days later, Dylan's remains were discovered at a remote campsite in the Lolo National Forest near St. Regis, Montana. Duncan had fired a sawn-off shotgun into his head at point-blank range. After his arrest, Duncan also confessed to the murders of Sammy Joe White and Carmen Cubias in Seattle back in 1996, and Anthony Martinez in Riverside County, California in 1997. Anthony was the boy that Duncan referred to in his diary entry. For his heinous deeds, Duncan was given numerous consecutive life sentences in October 2006 and a capital sentence in November 2008. Duncan first began keeping his Fifth Nail blog in 2005, shortly before he took the Groney Mackenzie family's lives, but deleted it prior to his arrest. Now, bored out of his mind in solitary confinement, Duncan relaunched 5N Chronicles on Blogspot in 2010 and made semi-frequent updates to it. It's believed he did this by covertly sending letters to either friends or fans known only by their usernames, Silenced and Agent Cooper, who posted Duncan's updates to the site word for word on his behalf. These online diary entries date back to April 14th, 2010, where, in his first post titled, "I'm here, I have come," Duncan wrote, "I'm here, in jail, in California, facing death. This is my worst nightmare come true. It's the thing I feared more than anything for most of my adult life. It was that fear that ultimately drove me here. But now, I'm not afraid anymore. I sleep, eat, read, and meditate on a narrow 22-inch concrete bunk. The mattress is 2 inches of foam padding wrapped in nylon-reinforced plastic. It's 6 inches wider than the bunk and 10 inches shorter than me. There is no pillow, and one thin, dirty, and torn wool blanket. It is uncomfortable, but I don't mind. I didn't come here to sleep." Despite openly acknowledging his own guilt and peppering his 80 blog posts with casual asides detailing his atrocities, Duncan consistently rambled about how all of society was to blame for his twisted actions, and how the state was just as bad as him for giving him a capital sentence.
And another thing that's so freaking crazy to me, y'all, is that when the lazy man just read that out to us of his note or whatever, one of his first blogs, whatever, he said, man, that his worst fear in life has came true. He about to die. He facing death. He don't want to die, in so many different words. You know what I'm saying, man? You scared of death, but you have been killing people all this time. Like, make it make sense, dude. These type of motherfuckers, they can't make sense. None, their whole existence don't make sense to me, man. Ugh.
We have always wanted this to be no more than an honest and open exposition of Joseph Duncan's thoughts and experiences, a kind of glimpse into the mind of a human being that many call monster. The idea, the hope, has always been that by doing this, then perhaps those who are ready will find for themselves that we are them, and that the only monsters in this world are the ones we imagine and create for ourselves. But it's come to our attention that by iterating with singular first-person pronouns, we're inevitably giving the impression that this blog is about Joseph Duncan, when it's never been about him at all. His mind is no more than a psychological sponge that has soaked up the dross and drit exuded by all of us. the fifth nail has only ever endeavoured to squeeze the contents of this metaphorical sponge onto the page, and let the pattern that emerges be read like an ink blot, which says more about the person seeing it than it does about the one who has made the stain. So, from now on, we will speak only using plural pronouns as often as we can, in order to emphasize that this blog is not about one person. We'll also attempt to shift our focus more on expressing our thoughts in a more general form, so they can be seen as thoughts coming from a sponge that has been used to wipe society's arse, and not from the mind of some evil monster that we imagine, in order to convince ourselves that we're not the ones to blame for the mess. But prisons are the outhouses of the culture we live in, so we have no one but ourselves to blame for the offensive smell that wafts from within. Everyone has to shit, so no one is innocent. So take a good whiff, my friend, because it's both you and I that are making the stench, not just me. The final blog entry was made on January 28th, 2021, in which Duncan announced he had a tumour on his right temporal cortex. I have 3 federal death sentences, in addition to life without parole sentences in at least 2 different states, but it seems now that the universe has other plans for me. Exactly 2 months after that entry was posted to the platform, Duncan passed away in a BOP hospital in Terre Haute. 5nchronicles.blogspot.com has remained inactive ever since, but still exists as a sort of internet time capsule, one that makes for eerie reading.
Holy S, my brothers and sisters. Man, listen. I'm telling y'all, man, he one of those. Let's take all the killing and let's add that up too. Let's add the killing and the child molestation and stuff he was doing. But the one thing that just killed me with that is when he showed up, when they had him on footage with one of the little girls that he done kidnapped after he killing her whole family and shit. You know what I'm saying? He showing up at a restaurant out to eat like she really his blood. You know what I'm saying? He done kidnapped this little freaking girl. That is freaking crazy, man. This dude here he did the most, y'all. Anything under the sun that should give you the title of being Mr. Devil Jr., he got it. He got all of it. That was just wow. And one more thing too is he had like a real fan base, and we have seen it many times of these freaking fans of these freaking murderer, killer, molester, do anything evil under the sun people, and it's people out here that actually like them. I don't understand how you can like somebody like that. Anyway, let's go.
This is rentahitman.com, a site that's been operational on the surface web since 2005, and one which purports to offer a disturbing service. For a fee, clients can hire one of the business's 17,985 operatives to take care of any wet work they may need doing. That is, it offers them a way to deal with any troubled relationship that they may want to make disappear.
The dark web is not safe, but our expertly trained field operatives are dedicated to providing a complimentary consultation to help you discover the perfect solution for your unique situation. Since 1920, Rent-A-Hitman has assisted a diverse range of satisfied clients, including ordinary citizens of all ages, government employees, and even political figures.
Helmed by a shady figure.
This gotta be a joke, y'all. This gotta be a joke. This cannot be real. Ain't no way in the hell there's a website that you literally can go to hire hitmen to kill anybody. Because that's basically what they were saying. We'll kill anybody. Government agent, it don't matter. Your neighbor down the street that done pissed you off for the last couple of weeks because they been goddamn making a whole bunch of noise, whatever. They'll kill any goddamn body. I don't believe that, man. That can't be real, y'all. We need to go search and see if that's a real website. But if the lazy man said it's real, then it gotta be real. I'm talking about they got freaking testimonials and everything on there. And who in their right mind would believe it's real? I'll tell y'all what I believe this shit is. If I was to see this and I'm on the internet and I see something like this, I will swear up and down, that's the police. That's the police, man. The police trying to trick somebody into trying to hire a hitman so they can throw your ass in jail. That's what I think it is. It's almost like it's a sting operation website or something. Let's go. It's this life. Yes, it is.
Called Guido Finelli. The platform hosts a slew of service options, testimonials, a careers page, and even a commercial, with a simple order form to fill out with your request. Yeah, if the premise of this site alone wasn't enough to clue you in that this is all satire, then its facetious tone should. The site's bursting at the seams with dark humour, such as how it states all of their operatives are 100% HIPAA compliant. That is, the Hitman Information Privacy and Protection Act of 1964. And yet, despite winking at its users at every available opportunity, thousands of people who have visited the site have been left with the impression that it was a legitimate way to hire a contract killer.
That's crazy.
The domain, rentahitman.com, was purchased by a man named Bob Innes, and was initially intended as a platform for an IT company he planned to start with friends. The name was a play on the word hit, as in website traffic, and how you could rent his service to get more clicks to your page. Bob's company would never materialize, but he sat on that domain name for years. In 2008, Bob decided to check up on how the domain was doing, and, to his surprise, discovered 250 to 300 emails in the site's inbox. But that surprise turned to concern when he realized that almost all of them were from people looking to hire a hitman.
That's crazy, y'all. And that go back to the very first video that we watched when I was like, there's gonna be some people who look at this Craigslist ad, even though it's ridiculous and crazy as it sounds to most of us, there's gonna be some people out there that gonna try to take this opportunity. There's some people out there will be dumb enough to freaking try to hire a hitman over the internet. Now, how in the hell you think you're gonna get away with that? How you think the police ain't gonna find out that you hired this hitman over the freaking internet? You know what I'm saying, man? It's gonna always be people to basically do anything that you have ever heard of in life. It's always that one out there. It's billions of us, my brothers and sisters. Let's go.
People from across the globe had taken Bob's tongue-in-cheek play on words at face value and assumed that the site was what it said on the tin. Bob decided not to take these emails seriously, presuming them all to be hoaxes, but decided to keep an eye on the inbox from then on, just in case. Emails continued to flood Bob's inbox, and some of them a little more worrying than others. In 2010, a grave request came from a woman in Canada named Helen, whose email came across as incredibly sincere. Bob followed up on the email personally, playing the role of a contract killer, and Helen detailed how she wanted her relatives in the UK slain, stating that they had cheated her out of an inheritance. She even specified exactly when and how she wanted it done, and provided her targets' names and addresses. It was then that Bob forwarded their exchange to the authorities, who, in turn, arrested Helen. She was later convicted of soliciting murder and extradited back to the UK, where she was wanted on other serious charges. Following the successful prosecution of an actual criminal, Bob transformed Rent a Hitman into the spoof site it is today. He and his team forward any genuine-sounding requests onto investigators, and about 10% evolve into serious investigations, leading to arrests. On June 30th, 2018 for instance, Bob received an email from a woman, calling herself Jasmine Brown, who requested that an operative take care of her love rival, BH. She included BH's address, phone number, and social media handles in the email. It didn't take Bob much detective work to figure out that Jasmine Brown's real name was Zandra Ellis. Bob put Zandra through to one of his field operatives named Ace, who in reality was an FBI agent. She and Ace chatted about the hit, and Zandra agreed to pay him $1,000 to have BH taken out.
These people gotta be some of the most stupid people in the world, man. Sandra's stupid. Just like anybody else who have freaking sat up there and tried to contact this website to try to get somebody killed. You on a website. You seen how fast that they figured out who she really was, man. Like, dude, this is the internet. Everything that you put on this website is gonna be here forever. It's in the clouds forever, man. And y'all really trying to do this ish? Like, and I like the fact that, you know, it started off as a rent a hitman. It didn't literally mean what we all thinking that it would meant. You know what I'm saying? It started off as something else, but the dude, he switched it to that once he realized that, hold on, we can really catch some people out here that's really trying to hire a hitman and get them locked up. So I like that part, but it just never ceases to amaze me how crazy and how stupid some people can be. Long story short, short story long.
She met with Ace in a Waffle House on July 6th to hand over a down payment, and disturbingly, even brought her daughter along to meet the supposed assassin. Agent Ace recorded their entire conversation, and, having collected enough evidence, arrested Sandra and took her into custody. In 2021, Wendy Vine from Michigan was arrested for seriously seeking to have her ex-boyfriend whacked. Although she initially used a pseudonym to contact Bob, she filled out the online form using her actual name. Bob immediately contacted the authorities, and Wendy was convicted and sentenced to 7 years behind bars. In February 2023, former Air National Guardsman Josiah Garcia submitted a resume to the site, saying that he was looking for employment as a hitman and claiming to be an expert marksman, one who had earned the nickname Reaper. Just like Sandra, Josiah agreed to meet with an undercover agent posing as a recruiter for the website. After being handed a fake target package, which included photos and fake information about his first mark, as well as a $2,500 down payment, Josiah calmly asked if he needed to take a photo of the victim after the job was done. But instead of receiving an answer, Josiah got told that he was under arrest. And those are just a handful of the successful convictions that Bob has managed to oversee using the site.
I didn't even consider that part, y'all. I didn't even think about the part where there are actual hitmen. You know what I'm saying? I'm putting it in quotation because I'm saying they want to be hitmen, or maybe they already done killed some people for some people. But I ain't think about the part there are people who trying to apply to the damn website to be a hitman. That's crazy. Just like trying to hire somebody to be a hitman, man, that's crazy, dog. And then the monetary value of this, like I always say, and like y'all all know, there is no monetary value that you can put on human life. But what I'm saying is $1,000, $1,500, $2,500, really? You trying to apply to be a hitman to get $2,500? Come on, man.
It's estimated that Rent-A-Hitman has thwarted over 150 credible plots. In Bob's words, he considers the site a magnet for low-hanging fruit that are out there trying to harm other people. I really didn't think that people were going to be that stupid, he said. But boy, did they show me.
Crazy. Freaking crazy, my brothers and sisters. Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying, man. That lazy man just said at the end. Those are people, it's some low-hanging fruit out here, y'all. That's what I was saying from the beginning, man. Like, there's always gonna be some people out here that'll freaking go for anything, that'll believe anything. We talking about grown adults that'll believe anything, that'll go for anything. Or I wouldn't even say anything, but there's specific things that they will believe in. You know what I'm saying? As far as the guys who believe that they had an opportunity to freaking get hired on at a farm way out in the woods, way by itself, you know what I'm saying? And it's just gonna be you and these farmers that you never freaking met in your life. You don't know nothing about them. You ain't even never been to this place before. But see, I'm speaking from the perspective of me in my brain and where I'm at in my life. But like I said, there are people out there that'll go for that. And I hate that those three dudes, well, four, probably even more. But we know four, Scott, he got away, but three of them actually lost their freaking lives to that, man. Then the whole thing that the dude did by taking one of the victims' identity and was getting money off his social security or something, just absolutely crazy. He manipulated the younger boy, Brogdon, into freaking following behind him. And like I said, man, it's sad, but Braden, just like him, both of them, they need to be locked up for life or the death penalty. Either one of them, I don't care. Let's go to the second one, y'all. What was the freaking second one, man? The second one was, let me look. Oh, man. The second one is so freaking crazy. How the fuck could I forget the second one, y'all? The second one was the freaking devil's son. That dude did everything evil under the sun. You know what I'm saying, man? Like everything freaking imaginable, or the worst type of stuff, from kids to killing adults to doing this and doing that. Like he was just all over the freaking place, man. And to get those blogs from him in prison is just crazy. His fan base was crazy. to help him with the blogs and getting them out. And it's just like, dude, no matter how evil some people be in life, you know they are the worst and worst type of people. It go back to, this whole video is all came back to the same thing. It's just like this, y'all, with people who, you know, this person is the most evil of his kind. Freaking, like I said, Satan Jr. But you still gonna have some people out there that gonna support him and love him and be a fan of him like he the greatest thing ever. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna, like I said, y'all, it's 8 billion, I think. It's some billions of us on this planet, and we all different, and some people gonna still just think the unthinkable. And the first freaking one. What is the first one, y'all? I'm forgetting, man. Lazy Man got my head all over the place with this one, y'all. It was freaking great. It was freaking awesome. Awesome. The first one. The rent man. Rent a hit man. It go back to what I've been saying. I just keep on repeating myself. Certain people gonna go for anything. Is always somebody out there that'll go for something. I don't know how in the hell it's people on this earth that think that a rent a hitman site is really up on the internet. You know what I'm saying? And it's real and legit that you can go on there and hire a real hitman. I don't know how they don't think that the police, the FBI, the CIA, the government in general, shit, the local goddamn people ain't involved or know about this site. You know what I'm saying? If the police know about this site, you think they still will let it up? Okay, so if the police don't know about this site, do you think that's real? You really think the police have no recollection of this site? It's like, it making me feel dumb trying to make sense of people who believe in that shit, y'all. Like, I'm trying to stutter for words to come up with how in the hell they even could think that that site is real. And like I said, I didn't even think about the part that there may be people out here who fucking putting in an application to be an actual hitman on the site. Like, man, I digress, my brothers and sisters. This was a crazy one from the Lazy Man, y'all. Some of this stuff on the internet is strange and dark as elf, man. And I just love this series from the Lazy Man. I can't wait for volume 2, y'all. I just can't wait for volume 2. But I digress. I'm gonna go and let y'all go now, y'all. This is gonna be one of the ones where I'm just gonna be sitting back like, well, how could these people freaking believe this shit? You know what I'm saying, man? I don't know. But like I said, man, I'm gonna go and let y'all go. Y'all just make sure that y'all hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and do all that if you ain't did that yet. And come on back tomorrow for another Coffee Man Friday. But until then, my friends, I also need y'all to remember this. Love, peace, and happiness. Stay safe. Don't stop. Keep going. Yeah.